Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our viewers and listeners to Well Life Wednesday. Today's
Yes.
all right. Today's topic: many people in ministry are pouring into others while running on empty themselves. So we're going to talk about burnout in ministry is real. Emotional exhaustion is often spiritualized. Boundaries are biblical but not selfish.
I'm excited about this topic, Iris.
Me too,
Um,
Christy.
I am ecstatic, though, for our special guest, none other than the Bishop Gregory Norwood.
Whoop whoop.
Oh, hello, hello.
Glad to have you, Bishop, and also
Thank you
First
so much.
Vice Presiding Bishop of Kojic International. And Bishop, I believe you wrote a book titled The Shepherd, the Levite, and the Minstrel. Three paths, one purpose.
Amen.
So we are very excited to hear more about that. Bishop is here. We're excited, and he's going to help us with the discussion of mental health, ministry expectations, emotional wellness, and sustainable serving. So, Bishop, thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
All right, so let's have a little icebreaker, guys, at the start of this.
Okay.
Bishop, what first made you realize that people in ministry struggle deeply with boundaries?
What first made me realize? Uh, because it's difficult to say no. It's difficult for us to say no. We struggle with the word no, not being able to please someone or do whatever it is they're asking of us to do, right?
Yeah.
And so we see this not just in mental health or in ministry, but we also see it in our families. You know, not wanting to hurt someone in our family or say no
Mhm.
to someone. So I see it on all fronts, on all
Mhm.
levels.
So, from a ministry perspective, Bishop, why do church leaders struggle to set boundaries?
Well, a part of the challenge is the root of the challenge is the reality is only 10% of our membership are really doing ministry work.
Oh,
To be
Yeah,
honest
yeah,
with you,
yeah.
it's only 10% of us who are actually carrying the load that 100% of the membership is supposed to be carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And so if only 10% of us are carrying 100% load, it don't take long before burnout happens,
That's
right?
true.
true. True.
And then you add to that, I don't want to not please my leader. And so if
Mm-hmm.
he asks me to do something, even though I have to do something over here at the same time, I'm not going to say no to him. And if I do that enough times, then burnout is going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to
Yeah.
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
It's now just a matter of time. And so what we have to do is kind of address the root matter is getting our congregations, our parishioners more engaged and carrying the load of the
Yeah.
ministry work. And then that will reduce some of our burnout,
Mm-hmm.
especially our leaders, because some of us are carrying 4 and 5 titles.
Right.
Sit
Mhm.
it's 4 or 5. I'm the usher. I'm the greeter. I'm on the
Mhm.
praise dance team. I lead worship, and and after, and I got to rehearse each one of these things. After a while, burnout is going to happen, and so we've got to address it from the foundation or from the root, and that is getting more of our parishioners involved in carrying the load of the ministry.
Wow, Bishop, the
That was
way
good.
the way you just made me visually see that, you're right. 10%, that's a low percent.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah,
Yeah,
you keep
absolutely.
the same people show up for
every
the
time.
same task every time,
Every
you
time.
wonder there's no reason to wonder why they're exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the same people you can count on. So
You're
the
you're in between a rock and a hard place, to be honest with you, as a leader, because you don't want to burn out your people, but
right.
Yes,
at the
yes, yeah.
same time, the work must go on. The ministry
Mhm.
must go on, and so it is a heavy dynamic you have to balance. But this is where You have to take time, even though it may cause the ministry some hardship if I can't be there. As a leader, I must let my leaders and others go away, take time away, go on vacation. And I'm not talking about go and do another job. I'm talking about go and
Yes.
vacate. Take time to yourself to replenish, come back well, go back to work. And in that time, I recall in the church that I was a member of, the pastor would take July and August and give the choir those 2 months off, give the musicians, because there are other musicians in the church, right? They just didn't have the opportunities. Give the choir, the praise team, and then we would pull from the audience to make the choir, the praise team, and have other musicians play. And that gives our folk opportunity to really just receive now and get the word. And you don't have to have the pressure of having to learn and do all of these things every single week, and that's a burnout. Believe it or not, it only takes about 3 months doing multiple tasks on a regular basis to create a burnout.
That's very true, Bishop. And I think you just really gave some positive feedback on one of the things you said earlier about engaging the other 90%, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
I
right.
like that idea because you have other musicians, you have other singers, people who just never had the opportunity or feel like I'm not needed because I see the same people up there. So that is a good way to even inspire and teach and mold those new people so they can get on the level that you're looking for. The only way they're gonna get there is to practice and to try.
Yeah.
It might be weak at first, but we're working on it because we're so that we're able to have people take off and then other people step up. I love that.
I do too.
And then you don't have the burnout as often as you would normally have.
Exactly. Bishop Norwood, how do pastors balance accessibility with self-care?
Accessibility with self-care? Wow.
Being accessible with self-care.
The challenge, there's a challenge with that, right? Because as pastors, as shepherds, we are charged with being available.
Right.
Kind of a part of the function of the pastor. Although the pastor needs time for himself as well, right? But it is our responsibility to serve. And so we've got to be available. Self-care, we need it, just like a lay member needs it. Just like you go on vacation, I got to go on vacation. It's like you take time away with your family, I must take time away with my family because I need to be fresh. If I'm constantly going, I'm mentoring, I'm counseling, I'm preaching, I'm serving, and I don't take time to get away to be with my family or let God pour back into me. Sometimes I just want to and hear a word, right? So you need that balance. So the pastor has got to have time. And it's got to be taught that the pastor needs that time. Because most times it's not taught in our churches that, hey, the pastor's human too, right? He needs time to be replenished and to rejuvenate and then come back to you fresh. So the pastor as the leader must balance that. You've got to, and that's hard to do because we always want to help. We always want to serve. We always want to provide whatever the need is to make provision. And so we've got to, within ourselves, say, hey, I got to take a step back. And and we know our bodies will tell us.
Right.
Our minds will tell us and our bodies will tell us when it's time to take a step back.
Yeah. Ecclesiastes 3 talks about seasons and balance, people. And I seen on the podcast earlier today, or it might have been yesterday, a pastor said that when a church member had passed away, he would get calls at 3 a.m. in the morning, and he would feel the need to get out his bed and go and be with the family. And he said he thought about that thing later and said, the people still gonna be dead at 6 or 7. Like I have to, and he said I had to teach the congregation that. So when things happen in the middle of the night like that, I'm gonna come during the regular hours because there's nothing I can do at 1 a.m. Besides, all we gonna do is I'm gonna sit down and you're gonna cry. We can do the same thing at 7.
Mhm.
Because if I'm drained now, because now I'm up at 1 o'clock trying to help you, and if something else comes up for people during the day, I'm gonna be exhausted by the time it's time for me to go home at the end of the day.
That's
So we
correct.
have to do things that make sense, right? So I understand
Mhm.
that being accessible, but also understanding that you have other people in place who can assist.
That's what I was going to say. I understand being accessible, but also it's like on our normal job, there's chains of command. We
Right.
can't just go straight to the higher ups.
Mhm.
We have to go to, we have the immediate supervisor. That's somebody over the supervisor. So I think if
Right.
we go back to utilizing that, like in the church, I know there's like the deacons, the elders, the mothers. Some of this
Right.
stuff can be delegated to what
Yes.
they can actually go out and
Right. And that's
talk
why
to
we
the
create leaders. That's why we put
yeah,
leaders in place. You have team leads, you have supervisors, you've
yeah.
got managers, you've got all of these levels before you get to the pastor that we can run this stuff through, these
Mhm.
we're dealing with through, instead of calling the pastor at midnight, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And some of that is training.
Yes.
Some of that's
Yeah.
training because this is a new church, right? This is a post-pandemic church, but not just a post-pandemic church. We're in a new generation now, and
Yeah.
so this generation doesn't know anything about Sunday school. They don't know anything about
That's true.
the deacons, the deaconess, the trustees, the steward. They have no idea of this stuff because that's not a part of our church culture anymore. And
Mm,
so, we've got to go back to training this generation of church membership.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yep. And I think that should be a priority.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Training. People barely have Bible study anymore in Sunday school. That's just
Yeah.
that's just real talk, right? And
Mhm.
so you don't know some of the older systems that were put in place need to kind of trickle over to me to this new, as you know, the new, because some of these young people don't even know what any of that stuff is because they haven't encountered it, right?
Mhm.
So we have to bridge the gaps and in between there, like you said. Let's talk about when serving becomes self-sacrifice. Iris, you want to talk about the emotional consequences to that?
Yeah, the emotional consequences to unhealthy ministry when you're serving is depression, anxiety, trauma, caregiver fatigue, identity loss, resentment towards the church and the community. And when you're working like that, and sometimes you do lose yourself, you forget who you are because you have taken on the identity of what you feel like needs to be done. You forgot about yourself, like say your home. And you hear a lot of people say now, I've let a lot of time go by and I
Right.
don't know, I don't have anything to show. Like, what have I done with my life besides just, serve? I think they missed the, I don't know if balance is the right word to use, but I think that's the lack right there. Because you've been serving for so long, you don't know how to enjoy. I want to say life. A lot of them don't even know how to enjoy life anymore.
There's no identity outside of church, is what it sounds
That
like.
that's it. There you go, Chris.
Yeah.
Because you're
That's
so used
it.
to that. God never intended ministry to destroy the minister.
Ooh.
So that
I'm
means
gonna
he wanted
on
to have,
that.
what'd you say?
I'm
What'd you
gonna
say,
send
Bishop?
you on that.
Yeah,
Because
that's good.
it was more than, if we think about God, Jesus, right? He was out in the streets. He did not only preach the word,
Right.
but he stopped and rested and and partook and encouraged people, and he rested.
Come on.
He
He went away because he knew he needed to. He done did all this healing and setting free. And he said, okay, I need to go rest. Did he not tell the deacons, the disciples, to go take a nap?
right.
So he understood that it was more outside. In order to minister, you had to have balance and be well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
right.
go into the discussion of danger people.
The danger of people pleasing in ministry. The savior complex. Feeling responsible for everyone's healing. Difficulty separate the calling from over functioning. Now, Jesus paid it all. All to him we owe. So why are we taking on responsibility and this savior complex when he's already done it? We have to know, a lot of times, like they tell us at work, stay in your lane, do what you call, and sometimes we do a little bit too much. And when we're doing too much, that's when all that burnout called in, because sometimes that you wasn't asked to do that job. You just seen it and feel like you just need to go do it.
And that's the thing. Everything you just called out to me is self. It's you feel that only you can do that job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this to make people happy because they'll smile and they'll know I know I'm needed. Savior complex. I got to be the one to save them. Jesus saved to the utmost. Feeling responsible for people's healing. You can't heal.
You ain't got nothing to do with that.
You got nothing to do with that.
Right. Separating
Calling from over functioning. How do you know when serving has become unhealthy self-sacrifice? Like I said, who told you? Why do you feel the need to go above and beyond and put on this cape and that you're going to save the world when Jesus already did? He died on the cross. Our message now, go ahead, Iris.
I was going to say a lot of stuff is attention seeking and performing.
Yeah. And you're burning out yourself. Like you said, nobody called you to do that. That's not your role. He already did. We're here to help guide people to salvation.
That's it.
Now, when and Bishop, when you're preaching the word, you're giving the sermon every Sunday. And when you give what the Lord told you to give, you close it out. Now, during the week, are people not supposed to take what you said and apply it? So if you don't apply it as the person hearing it, what do you expect to happen? You calling the bishop on Wednesday night, crying and hollering when he done gave you the word on Sunday and you ain't applied nothing. You're causing burnout not only with yourself, but also your bishop.
Right. So there's a couple of things that could be happening in a situation like that. So either there's a lot going on in your life to when you come to church, you're really not hearing the word. Or you're hearing the word and you really don't know how to apply the word.
Okay.
That's a different thing, right? So we think as leaders, we think just because we preach the word, you ought to know how to apply the word. Well, not only do I have to preach the word of God, I've got to show you by example how to apply this word that's been preached to your life. And everybody don't just get that, right? Everybody just wake up and, oh, I got it, Bishop, and now I'm successful. No, we may have to coach you a little bit more to show you how to apply. This is how you do it. We have to give some real application of how to apply the word to my life. And then once I've got it, I got it, right? Yeah. And now when I hear you preach, I know how to apply that word to my life.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But sometimes it's really teaching them how to apply that word.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you got some hands-on learners, they have to
Yeah, because everyone learns differently.
Yeah.
And if I've got stress in my life, to be honest with you, it don't matter what you preaching.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. It's almost like an unsheltered or a homeless person who is starving and hungry, but you going out there trying to save them. They don't hear none of that because they're hungry.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It is no
Yeah.
different inside the church. You preaching like a madman or a madwoman, but I don't hear none of that because I'm hurting. And it was something that you all said earlier, trauma accumulation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's interesting because that's being re-traumatized over and over and over. It's building up before I had the opportunity to heal from the initial trauma.
Yeah.
Good.
Right?
Yes.
I can cut my hand, and before my hand is healed and created a scab, I cut it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm re-traumatizing that area. So not only am I still dealing with the pain, I'm not being healed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so as members of a church, as members of ministries, sometimes we don't know how to say no. And in our not saying no, we re-traumatize ourselves.
That's good.
That's
We
good.
allow ourselves to be re-traumatized
Mm-hmm.
over and over until now I'm fed up and I want to leave the church.
Oh,
There we go. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Well, that leads me to the next question, Bishop Norwood. What are some personal lessons learned in leadership?
Oh my goodness. Personal lessons. Uh know how to cut your phone off. Know when to cut your phone off. Right. Um every problem, although it may have a solution, it may not have one today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm not going to be more invested in your problem than you are.
Ooh, that's my favorite right there. I don't work
Yeah.
harder than mine. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to work harder for you than you work for you.
That's
Yes.
it. That's it.
Those are some good ones. I've learned how to shut it down and take a seat. And I stay in my lane.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to stay in my lane.
That's
I'm
good.
not going beyond. My car has a feature on it that when I start to move over in the other person's lane, it starts to
Uh-huh.
beep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's an alert telling me, "Hey, you're
Mm-hmm.
moving into someone else's space."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
We need that system in our lives. As soon as I move out of my lane into someone else's, hey, you're going into someone else's lane. It will eliminate some of the ministry hurt that we go
Yes.
through if I can put blinders on and stay in my lane.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that I'm asked to do, that I'm required to do, I do that, and I do
Yeah.
that well.
Do that well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Harris, you can finish those out.
Pressure pastors carry silently. What are some pressures pastors carry silently?
Mm. Pressures, disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointment. I had to get delivered from it. I would preach Sunday after Sunday, and there were times where I would not see anyone get saved. And I would go home angry and upset. And I don't know if I was angry at myself or angry that no one got saved from the message. And then he spoke to me and had to bring deliverance to me and told me, son, my call for you is to preach the gospel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Salvation is not yours. You just preach the gospel, and the Holy Ghost will convict where
Yes.
there needs to be conviction.
Good.
And salvation will come as a result of conviction. But you just do that. You just
Mm-hmm.
gospel. And I carried that for a long time when Sunday after Sunday, no one would get saved. I felt like, well, what am I doing if people are not getting saved? The whole point of this is, to get folks saved to make it into heaven. But that it's not my job. Each
Right.
of us have a job in the kingdom.
Mhm.
Mine is to preach the gospel.
Right.
And then now I go home and rest. The rest is of the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
That's it.
Yeah.
That goes into the next question, but I think we touched on this a little bit. But it says misunderstanding from congregations when leaders rest, and I'm thinking about this because you see in a lot of churches, if they know that the leader's not going to be at church, ain't nobody showing up to church.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a rest for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why most pastors don't tell their folk when they're going away to rest.
Okay.
Right.
Because we will, if he's not going to be here or if she's not going to be here, I'm not going to be here. And, it's unfortunate. But if you teach your people, because it's all about training, because it's not about what I'm saying across the pulpit. It's about the word that's coming across the pulpit.
That's it.
No matter who the vessel is, the word is the word. And so if I teach our people that to receive the word, no matter who's preaching, and if I have to be away, we shouldn't have a fall off. Because they're coming to the word.
Yeah.
That's good.
The deeper challenge to that, though, is in our Pentecostal church. We have to hoop and holler and just about swing from the chandeliers just to get you to get something.
There you go.
And it shouldn't be that way. The word is powerful by itself. You should be able to grab hold to what's being preached.
Yes. Yeah. So my next question, Bishop, how leaders can maintain authenticity. There you go. Without feeling guilty.
How can we maintain our authenticity without feeling guilty? I don't feel guilty. I am who I am.
That's it. That's it.
What it is, and I do get it though, because sometimes we have to put on a face, for the people, and then it's like when you get home, you get to woosah and let your hair down. I'm the same everywhere, all the time. But if we practice being who we are, period, we wouldn't have to worry about that without feeling guilty. Because this is who you see when I'm in the mall or when I'm in the right?
That's
and
it.
So there's no guilt because I am who I am. And if you can receive who I am, we're all good. But the challenge then, if I have to put on an air or if I have to do a certain thing in public, different from what I do in private, the guilt does come in after a while.
Right.
Bishop, how do the shepherd, the Levite, and the minstrel each experience different burdens in ministry?
Oh my God. So we're talking about my book here now.
Yes.
So this book, the idea of this book came out of all of my levels of ministry. So I've been the minstrel, I've been the Levite, right? And I've been the shepherd. And so I have a unique viewpoint in each one of these areas. The challenge is most pastors who are not singers or worship leaders or musicians don't really get the full understanding of what the others bring to the ministry. Right? And that's why I also added 3 paths, but 1 purpose. There's 1 purpose, and that is to bring glory to God.
That's it.
Through all of our different ministries. But the pastor has to understand the Levite, the pastor has to understand the minstrel, and the minstrel and the Levite must understand the pastor. At the end of the day, and we don't like to talk like this, but we're not equal. We're not equal. I am the pastor,
Right,
right?
Mhm.
And
right.
so not in a bragging way, but I'm the responsible one. So if I'm going to be responsible, I've got to make sure that the things are going the way God has given them to me.
Mhm.
But in that, I've got to be able to have relationship with the minstrel and relationship with the Levite so that we all bring our unique pieces to the table so
Mhm.
that those that are coming can experience God on each one of these levels.
Yeah.
It's hard to do all of this without one or
That's
the
one
other.
of
We
the-
all have to work together to create an experience that people get to God. And that's
Out
what
of
this book is about.
Yeah. Go ahead, Iris.
I was gonna say, out of that, the ministry roles, what is the most vulnerable? Who's the most vulnerable to burnout?
Hmm. Who's the most vulnerable to burnout?
Hmm.
There's several. There's the choir director, there's the usher and greeter, there's the hospitality, there is the musician. Musicians, that they can get burnout easy simply because they're not just playing for one church. Now most times they're playing for
Okay.
multiple churches,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
so after playing three churches all day long and you go home, you don't even want to hear music, right? And
Okay.
Hmm.
so it's easy for musicians to burn out. But within the ministry, who the most vulnerable? um, I would say the person who don't know how to say no.
Ooh, that's it.
Hmm. That's yeah.
That person who won't say no.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
there's multiple reasons why people don't say no. It
Right.
could be I need to feel important, or I need to feel a part of what we're doing here. So I'm not going to say no. Anytime you bring something to me, it doesn't matter
Hmm.
what it is. I'm going to try my best.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't be 100% at everything at the same time. But the person who doesn't say no, that's who I would say.
And my next question, Bishop, how do identity and purpose affect boundaries?
Yeah, well, if you don't know who you are, you don't know how to set a boundary. You
Hmm.
don't even know.
That's it.
Uh, if you don't know what your purpose is, and to be honest, most church folk
Don't know the
don't know
purpose.
what their purpose is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My purpose is not to dance and shout every Sunday.
Mhm.
There you
I
go.
do that because I need to feel God, and when I'm going through something, I sometimes I just got to dance it out. But
Yeah.
that is not my purpose.
Hmm.
Somebody told me that your purpose is what you would wake up every morning to do every single day without getting paid for it. You would
Oh,
do it and nobody paid you a dime for it.
Wow.
And it comes easy to you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's usually a part of your purpose.
Because that drives you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
because nobody else is giving you the glory. You're just doing it because you love it.
Hmm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a good point.
That is.
And the lack of understanding my identity or knowing who I am, if I don't know that, then I don't know where the boundaries are. I don't, because I don't know me yet.
Right.
When I
Hmm.
know me, I know, as a matter of fact, I know me so well, I know how far to let someone push me.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you know how you can get right to the edge. Oh, if they say another word, I better
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
leave. Better leave.
Right.
That means you know how far things can go before it blows up,
Great
right? So
example.
you know something about yourself, right?
Mhm.
But when you don't know yourself, there's no boundaries. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
somebody can cross the boundary line 100 times, and you don't even know it because you don't know yourself.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
So you got to get to know who you are and what your purpose is. And then the boundary lines will flash up. They'll come up
Yes.
like red lines around you. Oh, you've been crossing that line my whole
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
So we hear the word, but we don't absorb the word.
Hmm.
right? We hear the preaching every Sunday, and it's good and it's motivational, and you get the goosebumps and all of that stuff. But we are not absorbing the word. We're not letting the word sink in and get on the inside. Because once we do that, once we absorb the word, then we get hungry and we need more.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to come back to church on Sunday. I got to go
Mm-hmm.
in my word and get it. Right? I got to go get it for myself. So once you start absorbing, it makes you hungry, right? And you go get it for yourself.
That's it.
Iris, give us some emotional wellness strategy.
Emotional check-ins.
Mhm.
Check in on your people. See how they are. Accountability relationships. Find some trustworthy people that will pray with you, that will speak positivity in you. Those accountability relationships that we need to have. Healthy coping strategies. We cannot use those strategies that's going to bring us down in the dumps.
Mhm.
Like I said earlier, some people turn to drugs, alcohol, overeating, shopping, gambling. All those things are not healthy coping strategies. You need something that's going to brighten your day, that's going to change that mindset, have those the start those thoughts. You want to have those positive thoughts. It says Sabbath practice. Once again, it's telling us, hey, don't do nothing on them days. Rest. Take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Learning to separate urgency from responsibility.
Ooh.
I love that. We teach that and even on our jobs.
Mhm.
Everything is not a crisis. Everything is not an urgent matter. Some things are just something that you want right now because that's what you feel.
Mhm.
It's not urgency. It's not your responsibility. That's just something that's a want. So let's learn to separate the urgency from responsibility.
Before you move on, let me say this.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to problem solve yourself first before you call me, your bishop, your pastor.
There
Because
you
that's
go.
the first, what did you try first?
Right.
There
Right?
you go.
Sometimes you don't have to just run to somebody else for them to give you the answer. Sometimes you have it within you. You just have to open up your eyes and see.
And
And
then
can
the
I
other
say
thing is,
this?
I'm gonna say the next thing is that's God testing you. What when you gonna start praying and seeking Him for yourself? Sometimes He
Right.
wants to see where you are. But go ahead, Bishop. I'm sorry.
Can I submit that your pastor and your bishop don't have all the answers? We
Come
just
on.
don't have all the answers. As much as we want to give you the right answer for every situation,
Yeah.
we just don't have all the answers. I know you want your pastor to be the end all, you know.
Mhm.
Once I go to my pastor, it's gonna get fixed. No,
Right.
and then we
Mhm.
get we get hurt when it's
Mhm.
not fixed by our pastor. Like
There
we're
you go.
supposed to have the answer for you. You're supposed to be so anointed and connected to God. He's supposed to drop an answer right now. That is not the way God works.
It's no.
I've always been told that if it's not practical, it's not spiritual.
Yeah.
If it's not practical, it's not spiritual. And so church has to shift from the idea of just, dancing and shouting. And
Yes.
when I tell you, I'm not talking about getting rid of no dancing and shouting. What
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying is, one of the things, and go back to my pastor when I was a member of the church. Another thing they did was he told me one day. He said, "Son," he said, "the membership of this church, 90% of them are not here because of my preaching.
Mhm.
They're not here because I'm just such a great orator. Most of them are here because we offer something for the family. We
Mhm.
offer uh, 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 crisis management. We offer uh, stress management. We offer marriage counseling, children's ministry. We've got
Mhm.
all of these things in place that we offer the family. That's why they're here. 10% of the people or less are here because I can preach.
Okay.
Well,
That's the reality.
I get that.
And that's where church has got to get to now. We've got to get to a place. Okay, if there's a mega church on the corner and a storefront church on the other corner, what church do I go to? Right? How do I make a choice on where I'm going?
Okay.
Am I going to go because we have a good dancing time over here? Or am I going to go because they offer things for my family?
Mhm.
Right? So the church has got to get back to a place where we're providing services
Community.
for the whole family.
Yes.
Along with the word, let's get some practical pieces.
Yeah.
Good, Bishop.
Family.
Mhm.
Right.
That was good all about self. What boundary do you need to create to protect your peace and purpose? Just a reflection prompt for our viewers and listeners. What boundary do you need to create to protect your peace and purpose?
You're asking me that question.
No, no, just a reflection for the listeners.
The listeners.
Go ahead, Ari.
But I do want to talk about church leadership perspective. So this question is for you, Bishop. How churches can better support leaders.
Yeah.
So giving leaders time off,
Mhm.
giving leaders time away, or time to just receive.
That's good.
Because most of the senior leadership of the church, they're always serving somewhere. Even while the word is being preached, people are serving and doing things. So oftentimes we miss the word because we're serving. So giving leaders time to receive instead of always pouring out in whatever area they're pouring in.
That's
Yeah.
So the next question is creating healthier ministry cultures. I think you talked about it that just now. Bringing stuff for the whole family.
Yeah.
And I think so going back into the community, we used to have like community events. You saw the community, but now it's just like it's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's tricky. The world has gotten more dangerous.
Yeah, that's true.
In the community, but there's still a way to evangelize without having to knock on somebody's door, or put something in someone's mailbox. There's still ways to evangelize. We have to be strategic though, and we have to partner. But I guess some of the challenge is, I want to do this within my ministry only instead of partnering with another ministry and we go together, because the goal is to win souls.
That's it. That's
the goal, right? Now, and then point them in the direction of a good Bible teaching church. We move on to the next.
That's it.
And so to create healthy ministry or culture within the ministry, let's get out. Let's get back out to evangelism. True evangelism. We used to have tracts that we would have in our hand that we would read from and pass out. We don't have tracts anymore.
Exactly, that is true. And I think we already covered teaching congregation balance and allowing leaders to be human. Bishop Norwood has said, nobody has all the answers. A lot of times people really just want a listening ear. And to know too that your pastors go through things too, grief, loss, all of it hurts the same. And so giving them time to self-reflect and self-care when those times do come. Teaching and Bishop Norwood talked about teaching the congregation about balance, knowing that if the pastor is gone, whoever's here to give the word is the word.
Yes.
Everybody needs to take a ministry time out so that they can be replenished and refilled. So I believe we touched on those already.
That's good.
Go ahead to the next discussion. Should churches
normalizing counseling for leaders?
Yes.
Should churches normalize counseling for leaders?
For leaders.
What do you mean by normalize?
It's a stigma already because you have to, you see, because back in the day, you pray about it, give it to God.
Right.
So now that you see, especially in this environment and in this season, like I would say, you're seeing pastors in the pulpits telling the congregation, when I leave from here, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on in my house. So based
Mhm.
off of that, because they are human, should churches normalize counseling for leaders, or should it be looked at as an outlet? Or
Yeah. So let me talk about the stigma part first,
okay,
because
Okay.
we have a double stigma.
Mhm.
We have a stigma in the African American community of mental health, not talking about our mental health challenges. So
Right.
we have a large community of undiagnosed folk with mental health challenges.
Mhm.
Then we also have the stigma within the church
okay,
of mental health. So we're the African American community and the church. So we don't want to talk about it in any of these spaces,
right,
but we should. Um, and that's why I'm so in agreement with peer support, because peer support allows someone who has a lived experience, who has been through what
Mhm.
this other person is going through, and
Mhm.
help them walk through it. Yes,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
need that in the church. We need to be able to normalize that type of ministry in the church, so that somebody can come to the church and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with something and I don't know what it is, but I don't feel normal." Okay,
Mhm.
well, let's walk you through it, and
Yeah,
let's point you in the direction of the professionals,
That's it.
right, who can help you live through this.
Mhm.
But we do need to normalize that in the church. If we can, well, yes, we need to. I'm getting ready to
skip to the let's go to how does healthy servant leadership, what does healthy servant leadership truly look like? If we could wake up tomorrow, Bishop Norwood, what would healthy servant leadership truly look like?
Well, that's going to take time. That
Mhm.
takes time, because you have to build a culture of healthy servant leadership.
There you go.
Right? That's got to be a culture. Um, right now, our culture is, let's just build, 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 no matter
Yeah,
how it hurts you or hurts me. Blood, sweat, tears. Let's just build and get it done. But
Mhm.
you also have to build the proper culture. um, Healthy servanthood leadership. Uh, we should be servants first,
that's
right? A servant leader is servant first.
Mhm.
Um, and I like to tell my leaders this: you are a leader of authority, a man or a woman of authority under authority.
okay.
You
Mhm.
are a man and woman of authority under authority. So
Mhm.
you
Okay.
don't have the ultimate authority.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
if we create the proper atmosphere for leadership and servanthood, then the culture will shift in our churches.
Mhm.
Good.
You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to shift the culture, because it's dogmatic. It's always the pastor, do this, do it this way, and if you don't do it this way, sit down. That's well, you're pushing the issue forward, right?
Yeah.
You're not fixing the issue. And
That's
so we as leaders got to go get trained.
Mhm. Mhm.
good. Yeah.
That's another part of the challenge. We I said this, I was preaching somewhere last week before, or last week, and I said we have more than ever, we have immature leaders in the pulpit and in our churches. Right. So we have to get, first of all, maturity on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Maturity will bridle your tongue from saying things that you shouldn't say across the pulpit.
That's good, Bishop.
Mhm.
It,
Mhm.
it'll keep you from going places that you have no business going.
Mhm.
Right. So we've got to get our leaders mature.
Yeah.
That's a part of our being healthy leaders, servant leaders, being
Mhm.
mature. We keep making leaders and putting people in leadership positions, but they're not mature yet.
Yeah, that was
I
good.
can go deeper than that, but I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah,
So the common denominator, I think, of our discussion tonight, boundaries help us serve from fullness instead of survival.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
yeah,
to serve from a full place, that means totality, full, whole, well.
Mm-hmm.
It's endless what God has in store when you're serving from a full place because you don't have tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
You see it from all aspects.
yeah,
And that's what the Lord wants for all of his people is to function from that wholeness
yeah,
aspect and not always surviving, scratching and just trying to make it in. And I
yeah,
think that's what we really have to work on um, as individuals and as lay members in our different roles, the things that we have, the titles and things that we represent outside of ourselves.
yeah.
You're right, Chris. You have to be whole. So if we're not whole, we're not truly healed. And that means you cannot pour healing to others while ignoring your own wounds.
Wow.
You're
Well,
not.
we
Go
often
ahead,
hear
Bishop.
hurt people hurt people.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
And that only happens when there's no healing. There's uh, no time for you to heal. So I'm still hurt, but now I'm operating in leadership. So what's going to happen? I'm going to hurt people.
Yeah, that's what happens.
People
Mm-hmm.
need to see. Bishop, offer some encouragement for our pastors and ministry leaders and workers.
Yeah. So it's not all bleak. I know, I
Yeah.
know I know it sounds scary, but it's not bleak. It's that there are some bright points to leadership. We have to get around other leaders, not just in our church, but in
Mm-hmm.
other areas, not just church leaders.
Mhm.
We need to sometimes get around our community leaders, our mental
Mm-hmm.
health leaders, and be able to get ourselves healed because we can. I want to serve. I want to give God my best. I want to be a blessing to not just the people that are close to me, but the people that are a part of the ministries that I'm a part of. Right? I
Mm-hmm.
want to see folks healed, delivered, and set free. But I've got to be healed, delivered, and set free. And so I offer this: surround yourself around people who are uh, always building up instead of tearing down,
Yes, yes.
or
Yes.
always speaking positive instead of speaking negative. And you can tell, right
Yeah.
away. It don't take long.
Mm-hmm.
Who's positive and who's negative. I want to be around people who are speaking life and not death, because the power of life and death is in our tongue. And so I want to be around the people who speaking life. As a matter of fact, if you speak in death, I don't want no parts. I'm going a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
direction.
yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, yeah.
To
So
me,
surround yourself like that. Yeah,
yeah, to me, spiritual wholeness and mental wellness go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you can't have one without the other. Because if you're not mentally well, how can you be spiritually sound?
yeah,
Because if you have other things going on up here, you can't focus on the spiritual. To be rooted and grounded in the word, you have to be okay. And if you have a severe mental health disorder and you're not taking care of yourself, and that could look like going to your appointments, talking to um, your your therapist or counselors, managing your medication, your physical health. It's like almost, Iris, when you're talking about substance use. We can't fully help someone who is actively in addiction because those spirits and you talking about hallucinations and auditory visual auditory, those things, other things play factors into that, and so you can't clear, you don't have clarity,
right.
right? And I just feel like an unwell person, it could be dangerous for them to not make sure that they're okay before they go spiritually diving into things, because you
Right.
can mix them, if that makes, am I making sense, Bishop?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
experience is real. Yeah.
yeah. So 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Right. So if you don't have a sound mind, fear comes in.
Mm-hmm.
There's no love, that you're always angry, you're always
Mm-hmm.
bitter. But when you have a sound mind, all of these things come together in their proper place. Right. And in order to operate successfully in ministry, you have to have a sound mind, because the enemy is constantly
Yeah.
applying pressure. He's
Oh yeah.
constantly applying pressure. And without a sound mind, you can break.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yes.
So the sound mind is the key,
Mm-hmm.
to being able to do what we do for the Lord, and then
Mm-hmm.
taking a break. In order for me to keep my sound mind, I need to take a break.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yeah. Rest is holy. I promise you
Yeah,
it is. I
holy
promise you
rest.
it. Holy rest.
Not eternal sleep either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We ain't talking about that one. We talking
No,
about
no,
right here, right now.
no,
What
this is
boundaries
good.
are you working on? It's really good. I want our audience to really um ask the question after listening to this. This was good because I feel like this topic could really go on. There's so many things
Yeah.
away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
this. So what boundaries are you working on, or do you want to start working on? What resonated most with you from what was said today? Go ahead, Iris.
And again, we want you to continue to come and support us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bishop.
Amen.
Promote your book. This wonderful
Listen,
book that you have.
listen, go get it. Go to my Facebook page, Gregory Norwood, and get The Shepherd, the Levite, and the Minstrel. 3 paths, one purpose. I promise it will bless your life, especially if you're a pastor, you're a musician, and you're a worship leader. The unique dynamic between the three. I promise you'll get some insight. Pastors, love on your minstrel, love on your worship leader, build the relationship. That you sometimes we say you should be able to feel where I'm going in the spirit. That doesn't just happen. That's intentional. Something's got to happen intentional. There's got to be relationship even outside of the four walls of the church,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
In order for us to build a somewhat of a synergy, right? Listen, I want you to, if you don't get nothing else, get this. Take time to heal.
yes.
Take time to heal. Leader, if you're listening, if you're watching, take time to heal. God needs you, but he needs you healed.
That's it.
Amen.
Thank you. See you
Amen.
guys